What's up, y'all? This Nard, Philly Heat TV, Nard Bat Cave, Burn, Nard. Y'all know me from a whole bunch of names, but this is the Untold interview, and we about to get into it right now.
Got my man Nard. Should I say Philly Heat TV?
People know me. A lot of people know me as Nard. A lot of people know me as Philly Heat TV. You from around the way, they know me as Burn, or they'll call me Nard too. I'm from Area Avenue. That's where I grew up.
Well, I thought you was an uptown guy.
I can get to that too, but but yeah, like my story was, pretty much I was born, raised North Philly.
Right.
My parents from North Philly. They was like Richard Highland area, like moved up to like Area Avenue. So then it was like boom, moving on up for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I grew up there, and that was my childhood. That was I gained a bunch of friends. I lost a bunch of friends. Regular hood type stuff. But while I was there, my mom they always pushed me to do better. I had my mom and my dad in my life. So good, well-rounded situation. Parents, I would say they're good people. They gave me enough good to kind of balance my environment that I was in, as if everything outside was telling me to do something crazy.
Yeah.
It was dumb putting that in me, like, okay, you shouldn't do this. And then my conscience kicked in and kind of balanced it. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, you shouldn't do that. It's the right versus wrong type thing. Let me see. Teenage years, I kind of started moving kind of towards, we still lived down there, but I had a little cousin, so I started living with him. Okay. That's how I got uptown. That's like how, it was up Mount Airy at that point. You know what I mean? So that's how I switched schools, went up there for a little bit. For some strange reason, I was always into tech. Like people that know me, I'm a tech guy, right? So that kind of started when I was like 12 years old, but I've always been that. So I went from, elementary school up to Northeast High School. Northeast High School, I was in that like magnet program for a little bit, high tech charters, all that stuff. I was just into tech. That's all I knew I wanted to do. Right. Besides that, I was into music. So mixtapes, all that. I was just music'd out. Video, movies. I was all in the media. All that type stuff.
So you used to what type of music you used to listen to?
It was always hip hop, but like the first CD I ever had was Mobb Deep.
Which
the one that had Shook Ones on it. That album. That was the first album I had that was on a CD, right? Before that, I was taped. I had mad tapes.
Yeah.
And
where you used to shop for your tapes? Sounds of Germantown, Market?
I used to be, so I was young then. So keep in mind, I was like 12, 13. So I was down Area Avenue. So it's funny. I used to just go out on the Ave, and then you had the Muslim bulls that was out there. One boy used to always hook me up. Because, we was all young boys. We all come through there, pass off the CDs. Well, it would be tapes at that point. But it was tapes, and then I guess they was getting them from like, I didn't know if it was like a real tape or a bootleg tape. I don't know.
Right.
I just knew I was getting this. Then, I ain't never heard music like this before, right? And then it was, the crazy situations with the mixtapes where it was just like, that was the hottest thing on the planet. You had your Bad Boy Volume 3s and the Best of Biggie. And this before the Clue started popping, but it was like my daughter or any person that's young these days, they don't understand. Like getting that and know it was like exclusive. They don't understand like somebody stealing your tape or stealing your CD.
The tape popping on you.
The tape popping, then you gotta cut it and then put a piece of tape on the bottom side of it so that you can still play it. And it got to be exact, man. That was when my eyeballs was like 1,000%. I was a doctor. You know what I mean? Like that's what it was.
Did anybody ever put the little? How you put the little tape or the tissue inside that little hole?
Yeah, so you can't record over it.
Yeah.
Oh, I used to do all that, man. I used to take tapes apart. I would crack the tape, take it apart, lay it in there, get it all back nice and neat. Take my pencil, screw it. Yeah, man, like I'm that boy. I had other little tricks too.
Yeah.
I mean, I had this boy that showed me how to actually, it was like he was scratching on the tape. It was like, wow. But I didn't realize you could do that. He was doing this crazy stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's something different,
So far as like growing up in Philadelphia, Erie Avenue, what year did you really did your feet, hit on the ground?
So me like, all right, so between the ages of 14, I want to say 18, I'm being a regular teenager. I'm down there. I'm in the Northeast going to school. I'm coming back down there at night. I'm back and forth with my friends, and keep in mind, like, people like I grew up around like people like Hollow Man or H Man, or we used to call him Drake.
Shouts to Hollow Man.
Yeah, that's my guy. But we was all like around up in Angle Street. I used to live on Marvin Street. Like all around there, Oya Road, that side, not the other side of not when you cross Broad Street.
Okay.
But we was on the other side, and everybody used to go up. The Fly Boys, like all of them, they used to be on the corner down, Germantown and Benango. Like it was just everybody kind of was around, knew each other. You know what I mean? Some people was close, other people weren't close. Just like, what's up? Everybody get a head nod, whatever. Like,
right.
For me growing up, there was pain because there was death and stuff like that with people close to me, right? But those things kind of stirred me out of that direction.
Right.
Like I knew I had a gift. My gift was sports, right? I could play ball, football. That was my sport.
That was just
like I was.
Who you play for? What team?
Brian Dawkins all day. So when I was a young boy, I was an Oak Lane Wildcat. That's how people know me from Uptown. So a lot of people that was up West Oak Lane. Like the teams I played on, we was like champions. We won like everything. I ain't never been a loser in my life. Like it was serious, bro. Like it's not me. Never been that. I contributed to whatever, but everybody that was up West Oak Lane, I had a good time at West Oak Lane. They all my people, Simon's Recreation Center. Met a lot of people. That was a place. You know what I mean? A good hub of people and talent, and it almost was like a fraternity at some point,
Erie Avenue, it's birthed a lot of people that we see today. Kevin Hart,
a lot of talent.
Gilly the Kid, the list goes on, man. We had Black and Nobel.
Yeah, I used to stop in there all the time, see them brothers.
That store right there.
Well, they down South Street. They down. It was different there.
It was different.
It was a staple. It was hood. You had the music. You had
everybody stopped by there. Everybody.
Yeah,
that was the spot.
It's a spot, and people can still they evolved to a more digital age, and they evolved, and they're more in a place where they could do more business. I guess
Right.
They were in a spot that was very convenient, though. Like
it was
right off the train. Boom.
Right off
you go
the
right
train,
the long
the
steps.
XH bus stop was right there.
It was a major hub, but I think that was the catalyst that they needed to get to where they are today. So people evolve. So that's good for them.
Say you was a tech guy.
Okay.
When did that occur?
Well, I realized that I was good at it when I was like 12, 13, right?
Okay.
And then people at that time, it was kind of funny. They used to stick like these little discs in everybody mail, say AOL, sign up. You know what I mean? Like, so people, I caught, like, understand, I got into computers before Windows had graphics. Right. I was with DOS. You know what I mean? So it was like, I was born at the right time. Right. You know what I mean? People talk about Generation X and all this other stuff. They be like millennials, Gen X. I'm literally what they call a Zennial. It's a micro generation.
Okay.
If you was born between like 80 and 84, they call them the Oregon Trail generation. We played that game on the Apple stuff. Like, it's weird, but if you find people like this, we're different. We're not totally like the people before us. We're not like the people that's after us. We're like the in between, and we kind of do our own thing. And then you find like that group of people usually knows how to have fun with both groups of people. It's kind of weird,
right,
but it is it's a thing. It's real,
Now, when you say you're a tech guy, are you the tech guy that can break down a computer, rebuild it?
Yeah, that's what got me into it. My mom actually got a computer, and she used to work for what was it, like maybe SmithKline or one of them companies like that, one of them big pharmaceutical kind of people, right? So she, computers is new. So it wasn't like no computer engineer people. They would just give it to the employee, take it out there to the doctor's office, stuff like that. And I can remember like looking at that computer and I was like, I gotta see what's in this joint. I break that joint down. I got the whole thing in parts. I ain't even, I ain't tell her, and she seen that. And then I was like, I'll put it back. Boom, put it back together, right? Put it all back together. So it was fun, and I kept doing that. And I just got to the point where it was just crazy where one time she went out and got me a computer. It's like a 386, like stuff that don't make no sense to people who don't understand computers, but it was a 386 SX with a coprocessor or something like that.
Yeah.
Had one, and it's the craziest thing. It had it had 25 megabytes of hard drive space. 25 megabytes.
And that's
your
what
cell phone now, bro. We talking about 251 terabyte of data on your phone. Like 1 gig is 1,024 megabytes.
Right.
The first computer I had 25 megabytes, and the dude that was selling it was like, "Oh, it's got 25 megabytes. It's all you'll never need, ever need." I'm like, yeah, them words real quick, because I know as soon as I got that joint, I wanted to play these games. It was like, oh, I need more memory. Memory had like 2 megabytes.
Right.
Right. It was crazy.
And at that time, that's when we was using floppy disks.
5 1/4 floppies,
Right.
3.5 floppies. Like this is my childhood. Like I'm just like going through it, but I discovered I had a passion for the technology. And it was one of those things where I didn't know whether it was cool or if it was weird. It was one of those things like I don't know, but it's like it came to me easy. It came to me real easy.
Well, at that time, it wasn't on the cool side for the popular kids.
It wasn't even like the popular thing for me was, it was like you would get dressed, get fly, whatever, and hang outside like during that time. And I would hang outside. My parents was like, "Yo, come in the house." Like,
Right.
I'm like, I want to stay outside, but it was like, no, come in the house. So I wasn't even mad at that because I knew when I went in the house, I'm not a reader, but at that time, this is before the internet. This is kind of crazy. Like I had my own phone line, so I would hook up to the computer and dial into what they call BBS systems. Okay. They were like bulletin boards, right? So it was like a computer you logged into, and you could look at all the pictures and play all the games and all that crap on there. It used to be in the back of the phone book, like when they used to give out, phone books. So I was like calling in, and I remember this one time. My mom was like, "This bill crazy." Because I was like, it was like back in the day when people used to call like 1-800 numbers.
Right.
I guess when you used to do that on the computer, you used to, you had to pay for it. I didn't know that. I was just like a little kid that was just like, oh, I read this and said I could do that, and I did it. I got in and I saw the computers and I saw the games. I played the game, and I got off of it. But for every many minutes you were on it charged you.
It's like a collect call.
It's like a collect call, exactly.
Wow. Now let me ask you something, Nard. Did you foresee the future of where we at technology-wise back then?
Yeah. I mean, it translated into me, my career. It was like, I'm either going to play sports or I'm going to do computers for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? And so far, it's been computers. I played sports. I got hurt. And then it was like, when I got hurt, I had to make a decision. And then I started thinking about it. Like, I want some money. Like it was kind of weird, and I knew that if I applied myself for a little bit of time, I could go get the money,
Right.
I knew the money was in technology and in computers. So that's why I kind of sat there and I was like, this is what I'm doing, it was natural,
Now, being as though that you was in technology, how did that convert into media?
Okay, so when I was about, I want to say 17, 18, I wanted to, I was into music so much that I was like checking the credits, man. I was like, I knew every producer. Like I was like, yo, I want to be like that guy. I used to get the Source magazine. I'm looking at XXL, everything. I'm looking at all of them. I'm discovering who these people are that are making these sounds that I was totally into. Like this music will put me in a place. I was buying Walkmans with tapes.
The Walkman.
And I had this Panasonic Walkman. It was a yellow one. And it had the super bass on it with a vibrate. It was like top of the line. You put like 4 batteries in it, they'd be dead in an hour.
Wait a minute, was it the Panasonic with the gray thing? It says
great.
Sport?
Yeah, it was like that, but it was the highest one.
Okay.
So I had them Jones. I broke the headphones. I had to go get another pair. It was like $300 back then. I'm in high school, spending $300 on some headphones. I'm like, I don't even know how I got the money. Like I swear I didn't. I mean, I probably was gambling or something. I have no idea. But yeah, it was wild. But I remember my mom bought me a pair, and then I broke them, and I was like, oh, whatever. Then I was taping them Jones, and then trying to get that bass, that vibration. They never made anything else like that after that. That was like subwoofers on your head.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They need to do that again. Like that was an ill concept. But it just did, the battery life wasn't right. But yeah, that's pretty much what that was. So I was into music, and then I got into that bug of I wanted to create music, right? So keep in mind, there wasn't no Fruity Loops and all that stuff at that point.
Hold up. You said you wanted to create music.
Yeah.
You started rapping?
I never rapped, right?
Okay.
I could write something though.
Gotcha.
I'm lyrically, wordplay. I always had a gift of talking to people. So it's like, my rap was like for your girl ear, like,
Right.
It worked. It was pretty good. But
what was your rap name?
I didn't have a rap name, but I was a Wu-Tang fan.
Oh yeah.
So that's where, like, I have another alias. They say the Madman, right? But the Madman is really, if I was to rap, I was like Method Man. Like I was like a Wu-Tang fan.
Is that your favorite Wu-Tang member?
Let me see. If I had to pick up my favorite Wu-Tang member, it'd be Ghostface.
Okay.
Because I never want people. I never wanted to be seen. So like originally when he came out, you didn't see his face,
right?
Because he was on the run or whatever that situation was. But I thought that was so ill. I was like, yo, this boy rapping, you won't even know who he is, right?
Yeah.
And that kid is crazy ill voice, and I was like, ooh, I could do that, like
Yeah.
But my rap ideas didn't. I never was. I used to watch people rap. Like I remember at school, I would hear people and I'd be sitting there listening to them like, oh, they nice or whatever. But it's like I'm developing a talent at that moment. Like, yo, I can tell who's nice and whatever. I remember when Eve popped up one time. I didn't even know who Eve was. This is like Eve, like back in the day, they was having like little ciphers. I remember like Broad Downey. I remember stuff that happened in front of Northeast High School. It's like all these stories and people that I saw later in life. And I'm like, dang, that was Shorty, like,
right.
It was kind of dope, but she was like killing them, like it's like little things I remember, and I'm like, I didn't know I was like witnessing people early and then it kind of translated even later in life, But yeah, that was kind of like my thing. When I got out of high school, I went to tech school. I was like, you know what? I'm smarter than these people. Like I had this thing. I was like, I'm smarter than them. I don't need 4 years. I'm gonna go get this piece of paper, these certifications, this, that, and the other. That's literally how I started my tech career. You know what I mean? Certification stuff like that. I went and took a couple tests. They're like, oh yeah, you don't even need to go to this class, but it's a requirement. I was like, that's stupid. Like, why not? Why can't I go past? So I just went and went to school. And when I was still in school, I went and got the certification. I went to school to get the certification, but I already knew that. But I wanted to go to school to say I went to school. So it was weird. So it was like, I'm in school. I'm gonna graduate school, but while I'm in school, I'm gonna go get this test, take this test, boom, say I know something, right? Start looking at other stuff, take another test to say I know something, but I'm still in school, So when I graduate, I ain't gotta go take the test. I'm already there.
You're already there.
Before I got out of school, I think I got a job. And then my first job was at Best Buy, which that's a whole different thing. The most talent comes from Best Buy. Right. I guarantee you that.
Before the Geek Squad.
I was there before the Geek Squad, and then I became the Geek Squad. Like I became the first agent in Philly, like as far as what they consider a double agent. We was the guys that went out, drove the little buggies. I used to have that little buggy parked down Erie Avenue. You know what I mean? Right on my block.
The first time I seen the Geek Squad was the one that's down South Philly on Columbus Boulevard.
Yeah, so I remember when that store opened. I was out there. This is when the Geek Squad was already the Geek Squad when that store opened, because I remember going down there. And it's like, just remember those Geek Squad cars? It was a Geek Squad car, and it was probably 40 of us. And I'm leading all 40 cars through the city, whipping through it. It was a crazy experience. We used to call them swarms.
I'm gonna share with you a story. rest in peace to Dirty Reek.
Yeah.
I shot one of his music videos.
Mm-hmm.
So we was down this warehouse, it was nice. What happened was I didn't format the SD card. So we lost all the footage. So
man.
now I'm like, I can't even tell this guy, he just paid me all this money.
Right.
So I can't tell him, hey, I don't got the footage no more because I didn't format it. He's not gonna comprehend none of that.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the one to the Best Buy that's on Columbus Boulevard, Geek Squad. They sat on that for 2 days. They couldn't get it.
Should have brought it to mine.
Where was you at?
I was in the precinct that I was. Well, that's what they used to call it, precincts, because it was where like NASA, and then that's why they used to wear the white shirts.
Right.
And the point, so this is Robert Stevens' era. This is the guy that started it, right? This is when the people were actually really smart, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had certain skills. I'm not saying that anybody that works for Geek Squad now isn't really smart. You had to take tests and stuff. I know that's not the case now, but we were in Northeast. If you went, anybody that went to the Northeast Best Buy for a number of years, like they knew that joint was official. If you went to the one that was in Plymouth Meeting, it was official. If you went to one in Willow Grove, it was official. Any place that had any guy that came from my generation of Geek Squad, which is kind of crazy. It's funny, their spots were official because we was all the people that knew the most. That's kind of like what they did. We were into fixing stuff. Best Buy is not in the business of fixing things anymore.
So the one that's on Columbus is not the official tissue.
At this point, the Geek Squad is watered down. Best Buy owns it fully now. It's not even a tech bench. It's like.
So Best Buy didn't own Geek Squad back then?
Robert Stevens came to Best Buy like, we got an idea. There's a business situation here. In Minnesota, Geek Squad or Best Buy didn't do any computer business because why? The Geek Squad was there. You had the best of the best. So if you actually go do some homework and find out, all agents have numbers like 007 and all that, right? So, I got trained by Agent 37. That's how crazy it sounds. It sounds deep, but just to fast forward a little bit, Agent 37 trained me, and then once we got out of that training, this out, what you know, but then he gave us the Geek Squad way, right? Boom. This is like 03, 04. You guys are going to be the first group to set the tone. All right, cool. I like being at the beginning of stuff, right? So I'm all for it, right? Man, let me tell you, I had to cover 3 states, Philadelphia, Delaware, and Jersey for like 2 years straight. Keep in mind, this is the whole United States.
Right.
There's only 700 of us. We're doing 4 and 5 people a day. Each ticket is $500. We at minimum like $500. Like Best Buy made a bunch of money off of us. Like they made a gang of money off of us.
Now, like what was the qualifications to become an official Geek Squad agent?
So, in store, it was just like, hey, you could just help out if you knew computers. But keep in mind, it's still the Wild Wild West at that point. Computers are computers, right? But it's still the Wild Wild West. There was no bar. You had like CompTIA certification, stuff like that. So it got to the point, like at one point, I ran what they called the precincts. I was like a Geek Squad manager. And I hired guys that I knew was smart, right?
Okay.
Like I was just like, yo, dude, like come here. Because my whole thing was get the best, get the best. So if I know a guy that don't have no customer service skill, I don't even need that. You can go behind his curtain back here and fix everything in here if that's your gift. I'll talk to the people,
right?
So that's, I always was a person that tried to harness the person's skill and all that. So that's pretty much how it was. So I did that a lot. And I mean, it's a lot of people. I made a lot of friends there. I met a lot of people at Best Buy. And it's crazy. My transition from Best Buy was to Microsoft.
That's crazy.
That was a crazy situation. That's right crazy. There.
Now, did fast forward? Did you think about messing with Elon Musk?
I knew who Elon Musk was before the whole Tesla situation.
Okay.
He was like part of the PayPal, or like people like calling it the PayPal mafia. You know, he's a very interesting individual,
Okay.
and it's kind of funny. Like people say, oh, like just recently he said, oh, in this presidential situation, oh, write an email on what you do. People are like, oh, he's crazy. He's trying to make us write an email. I'm like, man, he's probably just trying to shortcut and actually try to figure out what you do so he can put it on, like some AI is going to break it down, says you did this and that's what this person does. And for each department, it's probably going to say, okay, this is the description of this job. Like, I don't know, but people were like, I'm like, there's got to be a better reason to do that. But I don't know. But he's a smart guy,
Did you see AI in this capacity years ago?
When I watched The Terminator for the first time, my favorite movie is The Matrix, right? And that's I get deep with all that, but the
they use that movie for biblical reasons too.
There's a lot of symbolism, a lot of it's coded.
Yes.
Not like anything coded. Like if you're a rapper and you talk in code and you can do double entendres and things like that, I appreciate you. Like that. Those I like to think.
Double entendres.
I seen people do like I'm like rest in peace, but Fred the Godson.
Yes.
That was one of my favorite rappers. Yes. Like I'm like, this dude bars. He's playing with words.
Over your head.
It go over people's heads, but when I come back, and I mean it's a lot of artists in Philly that play with words and stuff like that. But like when he passed, I was sad. Like damn, like dude was really nice.
He was really a wordsmith.
Yeah.
He was really a wordsmith.
Yeah, he definitely was.
Now, we in media.
Mm-hmm.
Batcave Radio.
Ooh.
A lot of people don't know that you were the reason that Batcave Radio existed on YouTube.
Well, all right. I'll give you the short version because I'm pretty sure Rug or Funk, they're going to want to put this in the Batcave movie. So I'm going to give you all the fine details, right? But I'll give you the short version. I'll give you the cleaned up version, right? So when I found out about the idea of a Batcave Radio, it was early on. Maybe a couple weeks, couple months. Funk was over there doing stuff at WKDU. They were going down there on the radio doing some stuff, right? And then let me take it back a second. I gotta tell you how I was on fire to do something.
Well, how did you meet them?
All right, so I dealt with a lot of rap. I knew a bunch of rappers. So it's like between Sandman, Louis Blanco. There was other artists that went to them that I would just be in there.
Right.
I would come in there with the artists, and I might have had a beat on a CD or something. You know what I mean? It was like it was I was in the production too. So yeah. So that's where that was, right? But let's go back to let me tell you how I got inspired of to kind of say I'm gonna do something with this music stuff or do something with this entertainment stuff. All right, so I told you I made beats, right? On Jay-Z's first album, do you have a favorite song?
Which one? Reasonable Doubt?
Reasonable Doubt.
In my lifetime. Oh no, that's second album. Ain't No.
Okay. All right. That's same time frame.
Where I'm From.
Okay. All right. So good records like that. Well, when in my process of being a nerd, computer bull at night, I'm on the internet, I'm on AOL Messenger, I'm in forums and IRC chats and all that crazy stuff. People be like, what's that? It was like the DM before the DM. You know what I mean? So we're doing all this stuff, right? This is before MySpace, is all this other stuff. But I'm like one of the top bulls on this drum machine. It was this crazy drum machine. This is like 2004. Before then was some stuff that happened, but I'm gonna take it to 2004. There was a drum machine called an MV8000. Everybody had an MPC, right? Me, I always wanted to be different. I always looked different. Like the gray hair ain't an age thing. I've been like this since I was a kid, right?
You had that George Clooney thing going on.
Yeah, I had that, but when I was 16, it started doing that, right? So and it's hereditary. My gender, it was just one of those things, right? But getting back to the production side of it, right? So I made beats or whatever. I'm networking with people out there. I'm bringing my double XL, seeing who's who. I'm sending emails, little dumb stuff like that, right? But I'm just trying to make it connect. Like people want to be in the game. I want to be in the game. So one night, I'm in the forum because I was an admin in the forum for this particular drum machine. And this guy hits me. Yo, what's up, man? Like, what's up, bro? It's like 3 a.m. So some dude send you a message just like, what's this, a bot or somebody being weird, right? And he's like, yeah, I heard I posted some beats or something. It's like, I heard these beats, them Jones is nice, whatever. He's like, you did this on that? And I'm like, yeah. So he's like, oh, all right, I'm gonna send you a couple of Jones, right? So I'm like, you trying to send me something? I'm in here working, right? I'm trying to come up with the next hit for somebody, right? He sent me some beats, right? These Jones sound like they were straight off the Dr. Dre super deluxe mixing board. Like the music sounded amazing. Quality, right? Amazing, right? And I see his name. I see the name. It's on AOL. So it's like Ski. So I'm like, Ski. After I heard it, I was like, yo, like you ski? Like Ski Beats? Like Ski like Dead Presidents Ski Beats. Like he did Dead Presidents for Jay-Z.
Right.
I'm like, or Camp Lo Lucchini, or all the Camp Lo stuff early on. Like the whole first album with Lucchini and the other records they had. He's like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, word? Like, you know what I mean? Now this is 3 o'clock in the morning. They woke me right up. I'm like, bro, like what's going on? So what ended up happening to fast forward that, he was like, call me tomorrow. Gave me his number, whatever. We became friends. Like it was like, yo, this is like a real legit dude that was regular as hell. And he was just like, yo, this is what I do. And he taught me how to chop records. He taught me how to sample. He taught like all the stuff that he was doing. He showed me how to, he's like, yo, come down here. But he's from the Carolinas. So he's like, come down here. Oh, wow. He always up in New York. But
yeah, I would think he was from New York.
Yeah. He's like, come down to Carolina. So at that point in time, he had this nice house, studio in the basement. Like that's when everybody used to have a house and they had literally the studio in the basement. Not like our idea of like studio in the basement. He had a whole full-blown studio in his basement. So he took me there and I used to chop things a certain way. Like I have my way of doing it, but he literally perfected it. Like he was like, yo, do this. And I just took what he had, I put it with mine. And like, if you want a soul record, I could chop it up and get crazy. Now, and people don't know that about me, like, but I have a whole sound, right? So, he became like my OG, and he started taking me up to New York. And one time he took me up to New York, and they were doing a classic album or something like that, and it was like VH1, and they was interviewing him for the Jay-Z. So there's a video online. There's like it was Jay-Z and Ski sitting there with a blue shirt on,
right?
And he's talking about how they made
the Dead Presidents.
Reasonable Doubt.
Well,
Dead
I seen that one with the Dead President.
Right.
Now.
So it's funny, you see them too, and I'm sitting right here. Just like we right here, they right there. Like, so they're right there, the board's right there, the guy's asking the questions, kind of like how you asking the questions to me. I'm sitting there on the chair. And I'm sitting here and I'm just looking at this like, yo, this is crazy. Like, I'm in the mix. Like, I'm here. I met DJ Premier that day. I met a number of people there, but that was like an experience that said, yeah, I should be here. You know what I mean? For me.
Right.
That energy that you in the mix, you start, you feel you beating people. Yo, this person with the money, he taking me around. He like, oh yeah, I got this project. He pick up the money from people. I'm like, oh, this how it is? Like, and this when producers were making money. Like, he was still making money.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they just it worked like this. Like, I'm thinking like if you think about today versus then, totally different, right? Different. And
especially in the finance.
And then the labels, it was weird. Like well, not him, but other people were showing me how they would get money from the labels, and there was like a whole game because the label was like the big monster, and then you would charge them the studio time and charge them the stuff, and then I figured out how they were making crazy money off of this major money, because they were making all the money off of the records and stuff, so they was just paying out. But that whole time, that's a whole conversation. That whole time, that's when the Rockefeller broke up. Like, yeah, That's all. That's all. Whoa, like, yo, I'm from Philly, right?
Right.
Here's the awkward moment. I'm from Philly, and I'm gonna check on my Philly people. Like, yo, we checking for when that rapper blah 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 coming out. Jay looked at me and was like, haha, they coming. And it was like that, right? And then, man, it would be like what the president's doing right now. It's like, oh, y'all all gone. It was like a crazy moment. And I was like, yo, this can't be really happening. Like, this can't. And it was like later. That was within a month or two.
Okay.
That's when all the craziness of Rockefeller happened. But what I'm talking about, that was that time frame. But it was like really crazy. And he said a lot. Like, I mean, he was sitting in there talking about Fade to Black. Fade to Black had just came out on DVD. He's like, yo, put the Fade to Black thing on, and we all watching it, and there's people around, and we all chilling. He talking about they knew my songs, and the album wasn't even out a day or two. It was like they bootlegged it or something. I don't know. But it's like he's like the way the crowd was singing it. He was like, it wasn't even out. They were singing it. So like,
wow.
I learned stuff like how stuff was coming out and artists was feeling a little bit of pain, but in this situation was good. I mean, it was really, really crazy. But that was a crazy moment in time because I realized like, yo, it's some regular people. It's like these people, I mean, you got superstars, stars, but I've never been like starstruck ever.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, even when I could talk about like when I met him, when he first came in.
Who's talking about Jay?
Yeah. I'm like, what's up, man? I'm Nard, whatever. He's like, hi, I'm Jay. I'm like, I know who you are, man. It's like,
Come on, man.
But it was like a regular, it was a regular interaction. I was like, man, that was solid. Like, dude seemed like a thorough dude to me. You know what I mean? I couldn't say anything bad about my experience with Jay-Z. I don't think anybody I know that we close that would say something that was negative, but that was that. That was a fun time. But stuff like that fueled my battery. Right. You know what I mean? It was other situations where I was like, there's nothing like this in Philly. Like, I can't be around these people. People be hating or they not together.
Right,
so
unity.
Fast forward a little bit, we get to the situation where I was like, I was thinking brainstorming. I'm like, I'm gonna create something, and I was already I had a vibe, and I already made contacts with different blogs and stuff like that. It was blogs and forums, and I already knew how to operate that. That was my world, Okay. I saw when forums got created, like, you know what I mean? It was like, okay, I understand how this works, right? I knew how to data mine, knew how to get people's emails and stuff like that. So if I wanted to, I could just do a email bomb and put everybody, 30,000 people all in one. I knew how to do all that.
Were you a creator of an email listing?
Yeah, I still have my original email stuff from the back end. It's like that list was crazy. But for example, when back in the day, it was like I could record something, it'll be hot, and I would send it out. And it would hit all the people that needed to know. I didn't care about the dude that I knew the people that had the power to put it up. And getting into Batcave situation, that's where we're at right now. When I came around to the studio, I remember this day. I came around to the studio. I'm talking to Rug. It wasn't even called the Batcave at that point. I think Gil said something, then he called it the Batcave. Okay. But it was like around that time, because I remember being in there. And it said like Insomnia or something on the background, Insomnia Studio. There was like something crazy. It was like a different name. It was Rug was sitting in there, and I asked Rug like, yo, what's the Batcave, radio thing? It's like, oh, that's something that Funk was doing. And I was like, so what y'all doing? And at this point in time, I'm in my mind, I'm like, I want to record something. Like, I want to record something. I got to capture this somehow because like I'm seeing other places do stuff. I'm like going to a show and stuff and people rapping in the background. These boys got these crazy cameras and I'm like, it ain't nothing like that here. The only closest thing we had here was like to the people that used to come on, I don't know if they still do, but on Channel 48. Remember how Urban Expressions, right? I loved them. I used to watch their show all the time, right? they exposed me to so many different rappers that were outside of Philly, you know. But I was like, I want to be like that one day. Like I want to be able to contribute, right? So you know, the bug was already there for Rug. Like I want to kind of be in this mix somewhere. And he was like, "Oh, Funk will come back," right? So it's kind of weird. I'm talking to somebody, and Funk calls me, or somebody calls me and says, "Hey, Funk wants to record the show. Just record it and throw it up on the internet," right? I was like, I can't just do nothing with my DNA on it and just throw it up on the internet. I'm like, no, I ain't even that bold. They're gonna be looking at me like, "Oh, you slacking?" Nah. So you know, all the bad K footage that most of people seen, I did it for y'all. Y'all seen it through my eyes, you know. But it's one of those things where I wanted to give people the view of everything through my eyes. Like, and there's the way I shot it and everything. It all was relative to through my eyes, you know.
Right.
Because I wanted people to feel like they was kind of like there and they was getting the energy. And I hope that was able to come across to a lot of people because a lot of people shoot things where it doesn't entertain me, you know. Right. But that's what that was. You know?
Now, you shot it in a doorway. Am I correct?
All right. So
how did you capture this angle?
So I'm a master of the angle, man. Like, you know, so there's a doorway, there's the board, there's the tight area where people come in, they behind the console, and then you got a room that's smaller than this, right? So look, you know, I understood that a lot of things are smoke and mirrors. You can make things look certain ways,
right?
You know, because I started studying how they doing that. Okay, boom. And I started looking at dollies and all kinds of weird stuff. Like, how can I do this? I didn't even care about multiple angles and stuff like that.
Right.
I just cared about a person was there and you was looking at everything going on. And that's what I wanted to kind of give it to you. Like, so it was one of those things where it was crazy. It was a lot of magic that happened. A lot of magic. WKDU had a crazy. WKDU has history by itself.
Right. We
came in there. We made it like extra cool though. Like people coming there like, "Oh, we didn't even know this joint was here." They had little men on the ceiling, and it was like toys and Super Nintendo. Like if you watch the video with, I think it was Meek when he came home.
Okay.
He be like, "Yeah, shout out to the madman," and I'm recording him. And then he's like playing the Nintendo. He'd be like, "Yeah, I'm jumping on," you know. He was like saying something there, and it's like funny. I was like, I got so much stuff that I captured from different artists in that environment that was crazy. Like it was, but it was like with the Meek one, I was like, I'm just putting this all in there. It just was good. Like it was everything was good, and I just was like.
And you guys actually captured that moment because Meek was released.
It was right. Like he just came from jail or something. Like that night, he was like, somebody called me like, "Yo, Meek coming up." I was like, "All right, cool." And I mean, I knew who Meek was, but it was like that was probably the first time one of my cameras interacted with Meek Mill. Like I had my camera, and it was kind of funny because at that point in time, I probably bought the best camera that I could afford at that time.
What was that?
It was a Sony camera. I'm trying to think of the model. I don't know. I still got it though. I mean, shoot. If Meek want to do another part 2 of that, made that happen one time, we could do that. But yeah, it was a Sony camera, and the way I feel, I like Sony cameras. I'm a Sony fan. Oh, yeah. So I'm a Sony fan. But you know, we shot it, and immediately, I didn't even go to sleep. That's how crazy that freestyle was. When he did that freestyle, I was like, "Oh, this is crazy." And at the time, keep in mind the blogs, the websites, I built relationships with them. But there was one that was like in his infancy. It was called World Star Hip Hop.
Right.
You know, and I'm talking to the board. I'm like, "Dude, look, I got something." And then he was like, "Let me see it." I sent him a piece of it. And like he was like, "All right." But with World Star was pretty, like they used to charge people. They still probably charge people. Yeah. But that was like their business or whatever. But I ain't never paid for a video on World Star. Like, it was one of those things where it was like, I actually got there early. But the funniest thing is, Batcave, when we would push content to them, they didn't take everything. They would just say, we like this, we're going to put it up. And they would just put it up. And then people that was locked in, it wasn't like they was going to Instagram. Because keep in mind, this is before Instagram. People still operating off a website. So they was like, let's go to World Star.
Right.
It became a thing. World Star. So look, I'm recording stuff. You know how they say World Star Hip Hop?
Okay.
I'm a tech guy, so I know exactly what they're doing, right? So I'm like, look, I'm gonna do it for you. I'm gonna use your fonts, all this other stuff. I just said, look, I'm gonna send you the file. All you gotta do is upload it. And that's what I was like, I'm not gonna be the non-technical person that's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna send this to you, and then you gotta do 20 things to it.
Right.
It's just like if you work in regular radio, a rapper send you a song. I don't want to edit to make a clean version. I need you to send it to me clean, you know? And so I was like, I did that same behavior. I'm going to go ahead, wrap this up in a nice little package. I'm going to put World Star Hip Hop on it. I'm going to do all the work for you. I'm going to even convert it to make it super small so that it takes you 1 minute to upload it. You know, like I was really on that type of time because it's like everybody didn't have high bandwidth.
Right.
And this is just the technical side of me, like knowing. So I would wrap it up in a good package, just say, bloop, there you go. If they ever said something was wrong with it, I said, no problem. Let me just go ahead, edit it again. Boom. Send it back to them. They got it. And it was like, all right, thanks. And it would show up. And people would watch it. And I mean, keep in mind, this is like before the Breakfast Club and everybody else, man. So this,
you guys was like
it's like kind of like we pioneered a whole, I'm not to say we pioneered, but we were early. We were early. Right. We were definitely early. Just like I would say, like in Philadelphia, if you wanted to talk about rappers that got on the internet, I would pull up like Reed Dollaz. Like Reed Dollaz was like one of the earliest rappers I seen on like YouTube. And I'm like, oh, this joint is doing numbers. I'm like, this is crazy. Like I'm looking at the numbers that he's doing. I'm like, if he actually had $1 for every click or whatever, I was like, that would be crazy. But, you know, it was one of those things that I paid attention to it. And then YouTube went through the whole thing where people were making fake views, and then the algorithms and the computers had to start geo-checking this IP address that's doing 1 billion clicks. Like, you know, people try to cheat the system. You know, it's not perfect. But I could tell when somebody be like, I'm hot, and I look at it, I would know that's not you. Like, you weren't hot, you know.
Let me ask you a question, Nard. Do you believe that Batcave Radio would have been as big as it was if you did not proceed to film?
No, it wouldn't have been. We would have been late to the party. You know, I think that my input of recording it, making it look halfway decent, and getting it to the right people, that was the magic of it. It was we were forming Voltron. It was like, you do this, and we all worked together. So Rug did his part on the studio side, Funk did his side on I wouldn't say Batcave Radio side, and there's other people that were instrumental that were around that served a particular purpose. But that was like the core. Like when somebody record got broken on the radio, that was Funk. You know, Funk was known as the hater, right? You know, but if you sent some music in, I guarantee you I listened to it. Like I was the person that I would listen to everybody record. I'm like, all right, that's good. I would even give people feedback like, yo, that's okay, but that ain't for this, or maybe you want to do this. I would encourage people because I always want to see people win. You know what I mean? So when people was calling me, asking me like, who the highest person in Philly? I was looking around and I was like, okay, well, this person's hot, this person's hot, this person's hot, and that person's hot. Like they would know, you know. And this is people calling me from California, they calling me from New York, they calling me. I always tried to do my best to kind of like give the city a lane, you know. But Philly for a long time had a bad. It was like a bad curse on them where they like artists from Philly just couldn't come out. Meek broke the mood though. Like when Meek came out, that was like when I'm a Boss. And it's funny. I remember the song "I'm a Boss" when it first came out. I got the record because my man DJ Mouth G's, that was part of Batcave, he got the record, and he everybody would send me the record, like, yo, listen to the record. I'm like, and it's funny, like, I wish they would record me at that moment, because I was like, yo, this the one. Like, I knew when I heard that record, I knew that record was like out of here. I was like, this is like an anthem.
And you got it before Ross was on it?
Yeah. I remember that version, and it was like one version that was like not even mixed right. Like, I remember, I think I had 2 versions of that song.
Yeah,
I was like,
I used to hear one that it
was crazy.
Different. It
did sound different, like the way the mix was.
Right.
Once Ross got to it, that thing got, man. But you know what? That was like a moment, because everybody was in the Batcave. It was like Batcave boys and people that was outside of the Batcave. Someone was scared to come through. I was like, it wasn't even like that. Like, yo, it was like a welcome situation. You know what I mean? A lot of networking. A lot of people had good relationships. A lot of people had good fake relationships. A lot of people had beef, whatever. But it was like going to the barbershop. You know what I mean? It literally was like that. And you kind of had to be there to kind of understand. Because it was, you knew it was kind of like magic happening. I mean, even rappers like Math Hopper has got his own show.
I'm sorry,
the Math Hopper show.
My Expert Opinion. I'm sorry.
Right. I got footage of Hoffa coming from New York, coming down here. Him, and it was a guy named Norbs, and I think it was D Chambers. But they all came down here, came on Batcave Radio, did that thing, came back to the Batcave studio. It's like 4 a.m. then, laid a couple tracks down with who they do that with? They did with like Black De Niro. Okay. Laid a joint with Black, shout out to Black. But they did that, and it was like I captured all of it. Like it's like so much footage that I got that was crazy.
How many demos did you throw out the whip?
Throw? All right, so I'm not. So look, I'm not the one that's gonna be super disrespectful. Like, okay, if you put your hard work and you put it onto the CD, I'm gonna listen to it, right? I might not like it. I didn't have to throw it out, but P-Funk, he be like, no, let me see that CD. Take the CD, you take it out, put it there, take his bud, break it up on it.
P-Funk did that?
He bring it up on it, bringing up bud on your wax CD. Like that's what P-Funk would do, right? I would listen to it. I listen to everybody. And I made a lot of friends that way. Like, yo, look, dog, you good. You ain't where you need to be, but you're good. Keep pushing. And it's funny because I've seen people, it's weird. There's a cycle of being a regular rapper, and then some rappers that are good at music turn into producers. And it's weird because I've seen people evolve that way, and I'm like, they got a gift.
What was your immediate role at Batcave Radio?
Well, Batcave Radio, I was the one that believed in it. Like, I think that Funk believed that, hey, he could do Batcave Radio, and it's like a thing to do, right? When I looked at it, I saw it as, at first I took it as like, this is like my stepchild. It wasn't my baby, it was Funk's baby, and it was Rug, and that's what they did. But I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability. I asked them questions like, hey, do you want to make this Batcave, that? Funk was high. You know what I mean? Funk ain't know what I knew. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why you always saw Batcave Radio stuff on Philly Heat TV.
What happened to Batcave?
Batcave Studio still exists, right? Batcave Radio they went from WKDU to The Beat, right? And The Beat had 2 call signs or whatever at one point in time. But if you remember the time where you had Kendra G on the radio, you had Storm Buck Wild on the radio, you had Batcave Radio on the radio, and then probably a couple other ones. There were a couple other shows on there. But when Radio 1 decided to go a different direction, they literally took every show off of their signal. So there was like weeks where The Beat was just an MP3 player going. It might have been months, but it wasn't no DJ, no personality, no nothing. It just was playing music. And it was a weird point in time because you had nobody like in the morning or no, you know, it didn't have anything like that. But then they changed the format and they shuffled them around. Like the R&B station got switched to the bands, and then it's like weird. You got like KYW now that's on 101. You know, like everything got shuffled around. You know, so it was like a business move. They decided they were going a different way, and that's just what happens. You know. I mean, you know, thank God we you know, in Philly, like we listen to music, and you know, Cosmic Kev still does his thing because if you know, like we was the alternative to that.
That's a
you
fact.
know,
That's a fact.
like Cosmic Kev is the person that inspired us to kind of do what we were doing. You know, and it was a good thing. You know, he was doing what he was doing. We were doing what we were doing. It wasn't really like a competition or anything like that. At least not in my eyes.
That's how I seen it. You know, growing up and watching you guys, you know, I seen it as okay. You got Batcave Radio, and then you got you know, Power 99 Cosmic Kev show.
Right.
You know, and I always thought that you guys, you know, work, you know, together. Like it's like this is the proving grounds radio.
But look, it could have been like that, but no, it wasn't. I'm pretty sure because like Cosmic Kev knew them. Like I'm pretty sure it was one of those things that you know he would use it that way. Like all right, he did all right over there. Let me go bring him over there. I'm pretty sure.
But that's how we see it.
I'm pretty sure.
It.
Because I think about people like I can't remember before Quilly being on Batcave Radio. Him being on Power 99.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think the first time Quilly was on the radio was on Batcave. There was a cipher, and it was Joey, Quilly. It was a couple of 8-gang people. Oskino. Like there's a video on Philly, you know, on Philly TV that it was a cipher going on, and it was a couple other rappers there, and it was a good cipher. But I think that's probably the first time, like when you saw artists like that, it automatically got them hot off of Batcave. Like think about the first time the world saw like his name used to be Young Savage. I forget his name now. I forget he changed his name.
Yeah. What is it? Sean Smith.
Right.
Okay.
Look, he was like 15 years old when I think he was like 15 years old. We saw him rap like outside or in a little video or something, and I looked at him out like because we trying to figure out who should we bring up and all that stuff, right? He was like, yo, we bring that young boy up. When I say when we brought him up, we got him in there. He tore it down. I was like, that was crazy. And even worse, like both sent me a message back like, yo, that was crazy. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's talent. Like, and for me, it was like I just wanted to show the world the talent. You know, like that was my thing. You could be average, but if it was good, I was putting it out there. I wanted to give people their best look, you know, with Batcave, even beyond Batcave. If I did something, I wanted to give people the look, you know, the best look I could give them. Now, their talent and how the people are going to receive you might be a little weird because, I mean, I put out videos and say the first year didn't do anything. Man, year 5, that joint went crazy. And I'm like, I'm getting a check off of this joint now. Like, you know, it'd be kind of weird. But that's the way it happens, you know.
Donna D.
Where
is Donna D?
Donna D is, she's good. She's in the cut, working her nice job, pushing her nice will. You know, that Donna is part of the team, you know. Everybody loved Donna D.
Yes, we did.
You got to understand because we had the gels. The gels were listening. Like, we used to tell the gels to write in, and they would write in and write letters to Donna D. We had stacks of mail going to the Batcave.
Listen.
Look.
I told Funk and I told Rug when I interviewed them.
Right.
I said, listen, Donna D held it down.
Look.
Like, she was just this nice, pretty, light-skinned girl. Yeah. And it was the guys. She was
like Angela Yee before Angela Yee.
And she didn't even really say much.
No, her presence was there. And it was like, oh, a good vibe, you know. She was the voice of reason. Because there's many times where there was, you know, let me say this, let me preface this. It was not Rug and it was not P-Funk. Because, you know, they marry guys and stuff now, right? So it wasn't them. right? But there was other people in the at the radio station.
Okay.
And there are moments that I had to edit because, there was like, she was like, "Oh no, y'all not gonna do this," and then somebody else would come in, and then she's like, "I'm out," and then she would say like, "Y'all gotta get out of here," or whatever. She'd be the voice of reason, and I'm sitting there holding the camera, not realizing what's about to happen. And then something would happen, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, that wasn't supposed to be on the camera, but it'd be like really, really funny if you were to see it, right?
Right.
But nobody will ever see that. I think I burned those tapes, or or those files.
How much footage do you have in your possession that never seen the light of day?
Well, I'll give you this example. Like, so there was a Batcave DVD, right? Now, there was a Batcave DVD that was kind of like the first couple years or whatever it may have been. And there was a Batcave DVD 2 that was supposed to come out. And when I was working on that, that's when they decided to change the radio stuff. So, and get to kind of keep you in the mindset of where I was at, I knew streaming was coming. I knew that phone plans were going to be unlimited. I knew that you wouldn't have to be capped out at 5 gigabytes of data and then your phone would go off. Like, I knew we would get to that point. So my thought was, hey, let's do Batcave. Like, when it went off the air, like, we can still do it. We got the whole studio. We can still do it. I don't think it registered to people like that it could still be done. So what ended up happening is, that's when you kind of got that separation, and everybody was doing what they did and doing different things, but it was still Batcave. It was still Batcave, but everything was kind of different. And then everybody kind of started doing different things. I started doing more things under my Philly Heat branding. I started doing like MFM, which that was Mouth G's Freestyle Mondays, and I was working with Brock from the Heat Holders, and
So you was the camera guy for Mouth G's segment?
Oh, that's me.
Where's Mouth G's?
Mouth G's is in another state right now. I haven't talked to him out in a couple months, but that's my brother, and I hope that he's doing good right now. But he was, last time I talked to him, he was going through some life things, and he's working through it. He's how people get to a point in life and they see something and they say, okay, this is where it's supposed to be.
Right.
He mentally that's where he went. He went to that particular place. I'm not going to that place, but right. He went to that place. And that's what he has to do for him.
You guys created a huge impact on the city of Philadelphia. You was a good duo, for radio presence. We watched you guys come from college radio to actual, radio station. Mm-hmm. The guests that you guys brought up on the show, it was captured, in the moment, in real time.
Yeah.
Where we look back at it and we want that that restoration back. For
it was real.
Moments.
It wasn't a lot of phony stuff. There was nothing premeditated. It was just the way it happened.
Right.
And the way people saw it happen was probably 98%. Sometimes I had to do an edit. You have a rapper go up there like, I'm about to burn this down. And they burn it down. They say the same verse like 8 times because they messed up on it. Like, they messed up on it. But, with the way technology was, then I could cut it just like I was chopping up a sample. And it looked like it was fluid. I had to do that before AI. And it is kind of funny, but if I'll show you the ones you probably like, you would never know,
It's a question that I've asked P-Funk, I've asked Rug, and I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Can we see Batcave Radio again?
My honest answer, if all parties are like-minded and all the conversations that need to be had between Rug and P-Funk are had, and they come up with a positive energy, or whether, hey, I'll work with you, or it could be, they not. But I think that if they decided that they wanted to do it, Voltron would be formed. And now you have the technology to go along with the idea that was kind of ahead of its time, So if we, there's just think about this: a computer that's totally turned off, right? Computer's turned off, and then one day a little red light starts blinking, and then a little green light comes and it looks like it's like rebooting. I want to say that behind the scenes, that red light started blinking. So I don't know what the future holds, but I think something's gonna start.
Nard, my last question is to you is, what is one thing that no one know about you, but they should?
One thing that people, that would be like giving.
I think
it up,
we got
man.
them. We got them.
I don't see. Here's the thing: I don't like people to know a lot of things about me. I like people to think that I'm quiet, that I'm not observing, that I don't know. Where I could be the smartest person in the room, or I may have the person that has the most knowledge in the room about what's going on, but I'll be quiet. I'm a ghost. Like people be like, "Oh, yo, I remember the bull. I ain't never know what he did." It's like the brain, it's like the hidden hand, the wild card, or like I've got many names. People call me a lot of things, like in regards to like, they text me, or I'm like, this is what I would do, and I've helped a lot of people. I don't want credit, People like, no, you should be out there getting your credit. Nah, man. I'm just glad that you're where you need to be, and I feel like my whole purpose on life, entertainment, commercial world of my job and enterprise level, whatever it may be, people come to me because they know I can help them get to where they need to be. And I'm okay with that.